So before beginning this episode, I have a few things to say. This entire episode is a story about a client who was mistreated by her therapist and how she managed to get his license revoked. It's a complicated story with a lot of twists and turns. The client is a patron by the name of Maite. It's spelled M-A-Y-T-E with an apostrophe. She gave me, not apostrophe, accent. She gave me permission to tell her story in this episode. She told me that she wanted her name to be read on the podcast. She wants to stand tall and be proud of what happened. She doesn't want to hide anymore. She knows that she has nothing to be ashamed of. It's the therapist who has something to be ashamed of. And I highly commend her for allowing us to tell her story as a client underneath this unethical therapist. She wants to raise awareness of the way therapists mistreat their clients. She wants to raise awareness about the complaint process. She wants her story to be a warning to therapists and a warning to clients, incidentally. She wants therapists to stop mistreating their clients, and she wants the mistreated clients in the world to know that they have the power to seek justice. In this episode, I'm going to tell her story. I'm going to read his progress notes, actually, because I have access to that. I have his progress notes because Maite sent them to me. I'm also going to read her account of what happened. I'm going to review the ethical codes and the guidelines regarding using touch in therapy, because that's the issue, is that he was touching her. I'm going to review other ethical codes involved in this case. I'm also going to talk about the complaint process that she went through. And I'm going to talk about what the state decided to do to the therapist. Welcome to the Psychology in Seattle podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a licensed therapist and a professor. This episode is just for patrons of the podcast. So if you're listening to this and you're not a patron of the podcast, this episode will end before the content begins. If you want to hear the full episode, you have to become a patron of the podcast by going to patreon.com. That's patreon.com. When you go there, you'll get access to this episode along with hundreds of other patron-exclusive episodes. If I'm reading it right, this episode is going to be 2 or 3 hours long. And so if you're interested in getting bang for your buck, I think you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck in this instance. So go to patreon.com and become a patron and get access to this full episode. And remember that a portion of your monthly pledge goes towards various charities that we support, including petfinder.com.